Hello and good early afternoon. Sorry for a bit of a later one today, but going through Bitcoin is almost noon UTC on Friday the 13th. So looking at the markets opening up as well, just general long shorts coming in first. We're still seeing some pretty heavy shorting. This is all good to see. So this is a nice trend that we're seeing people trying to locally short stuff for it to break down, which just means that there's a potential for continuation just based off of long shorts. That still looks pretty decent. Looking at the local heat map, though, there is quite a bit of juicy liquidity building below us at 57K and all the way down to 56.5. Underneath that, I don't see a local play below that currently. I'd say somewhere between 57K and 56.5 is a likely retracement zone if we see some localized failures. That being said, the stuff above us is still building. If we look at a higher time frame perspective on the liquidity and liquidations, yes, we have some local things that are attractive, like really local things, but the heaviest amount of liquidity is still above us, easily up above 60K, getting us to 60.5 with these kind of heavier blocks. But so for the time being, I think, we still got upside priority. It still looks good to continue. If there's some localized breakdown, you probably want to see a retest somewhere around 57K to 56.5 with the local stuff. Breaking below that does start to break some of the structure, especially if we get down back towards 55. Anything that clears that low from what we did on the 11th is likely to break the upside structure, so just keep that in mind as well. Looking over at the funding rates, generally good. BitMEX very negative. That's awesome to see. That's one that always sticks out to me, so that's awesome. Love it. Across the board, yeah, BingX, Bybit's positive, so a little bit neutral, not super attractive, but that's always a positive on my end for the BitMEX side. So overall, still looking uppish more than anything else. Looking at the economic calendar for next week, it is Friday. There was no major stuff today. All eyes are on the FOMC, the Fed interest rate. So there's talks. The forecast right now is they're only going to lower it by 25 basis points. I hope that's not the case. I think 50 is the cut they need to go for. They need to go for trying to cut quite dramatically, but they want to do it slow. So I don't want to see that. I honestly want to see like a 50 basis point cut. That would be amazing for the markets. So watch that. That's going to be the huge one on Wednesday. Tuesday, we've got some stuff before the market opens next week. Core retail sales and retail sales. And then Thursday, you've got initial jobless claims. You got some manufacturing indexes and stuff like that. Existing home sales is going to be a big, big one. But overall, all eyes are on next Wednesday, September 18th. Do not miss that. It's going to be a wild volatility event, regardless of what happens. So with that being said, looking over at Trading Light, look at some local stuff. We're seeing some nice pushback right now. Like I said, we've got that local juicy liquidity down to about 57K, where we've got some resting orders, and then all the way down to 56.5, which is actually some really good 4-hour structure. Open interest still increasing, so we're still seeing people try to short this structure. Getting some long liquidations, but nothing too crazy at all. TPO, we're actually losing the local 1 hour, and we start looking at the next one, 56.6. All right, 56.5. That's where the next major block of volume is. So that's good to see as well. And then finally, looking at the TPO, or see the footprint, excuse me. There's some local stuff here. We could be seeing a very local retest hold. If we do start to fail this, like I said, 56.5, it starts to look really attractive to fill some of these order book and these order flow imbalances that we want to see. And then if we look at the local stuff, as far as like who's in position where, still, yeah, we got a pretty good short delta on the current structure, so definitely enough. To get a continuation gain, you just want to see a local regain of 58.4 to continue that move to the upside. You're in kind of like the middle of the local range you're in. If you start getting below this 4-hour 57.5, you're probably going to want to target a retest lower, back to retest structure. And on the 4-hour, this is really good overall structure back here at 56.6. That's really the 4-hour structure you want to see held, because it's very strong. It's a very strong reversal, and losing that would start to break the upside trend and structure that we have. So looking over at Trading View, first things, just to go through this real quick, definitely seeing quite a bit of stagnation in the upside move. I'll show you guys the other volume side as well. We're seeing some volume drop offs for longs, but I would say that your best bet right now is just to look for it to come back down to retest stuff. The invalidation of the downside of some potential local downside pressure would be that regain, like I said, 58.4, little quick regain, tap the monthly open, and you're likely to have a continuation. Not going to see too much, honestly. I'm thinking more of like a cool off between now and Wednesday, so maybe some retracement until then. That's just kind of a gut feeling. But if we get back down towards, 57.5, 57K, that's fine. We could still see a step off move. I'd be much happier with like a full test down here. This is like the ideal one, which is a full test down to like the 56.5 zone. And then we get a bullish back test and start regaining for a move up going next week. But a lot can happen. I'm kind of expecting a flat sideways weekend. I'm not expecting a whole lot to really play out too much. There's some black swan event capability. There's a lot of tension heating back up in Europe at the moment with some potential increases in the conflict there. So it could be something. We'll see. We'll see what happens over the weekend. But for right now, you're just seeing a little bit of slowness, a little bit of stagnation at the local structure. It's just slowing down a bit. That's all it is. Hasn't lost any levels of really significance. The first significant loss would be a close at the 4-hour higher under this block, 56.5. If you see that, you must come back towards the weekly open down at 54.8. So for the time being, yes, you're still priority up. However, I'm just saying still in great areas to take some profit in case we have some localized retracement, and watch for that failure at 56.5. That is the key to kind of holding this structure, especially on the 4-hour. And then something to look at as well, which I thought was interesting, was on the volume side. So generally speaking, we're looking at like the order flow dominance effectively. Still very much upside, but it's starting to stagnate and die right here as we're seeing a little bit of the red coming in. Again, not a whole lot of pressure. It's not as significant as it was back on Tuesday the 27th back in August. But for the time being, it's just showing some slowness, some stagnation, nothing really improving locally. So just watch that in case you do get some localized pulls back to the downside. But yeah, that's about it. I'll catch you guys Monday and Wednesday. Wednesday's gonna be a fun one. I might do a stream. So peace out.